We're live now. Hello, good evening, everybody. We had technical issues. We had mic issues that I had to disconnect the previous live stream. We had technical issues. We had mic issues. Just to rejoin. Thank you for joining me here. Okay. So I'm just going to start from the beginning. We started this class last week, Sunday, virtual assistant training. We've done 5. Okay, this is the 5th session, actually. It's been amazing for me, but I don't know about you guys because you don't participate in all the exercises. People are paying. I've seen people paying other coaches to teach them virtual assistant, and they're doing training every blessed day. They are doing training. You can't afford to miss, doing these trainings when you paid for that particular training. But because it's free, you're not serious. First session, second session, third session, fourth session. This is the fifth section. I almost gave up, but I decided to finish it up. So the last one will be on Thursday, and that'll be it for this session. If you need further guidance, you're going to pay for the service. So I was just going to run through this one because I've wasted a couple of time trying to I've wasted a couple of time trying to sort out my mic. I switched it off unknowingly. So let's go there. Welcome everybody. If you're joining me for the first time, we've been doing virtual assistance training since last week Sunday, and today is the 5th session, which is our landing and keeping clients session. So welcome back everyone. If you're joining me for the first time, feel free to go through the channel and watch the first, second, third, and fourth sessions so that you can catch up with what we are doing today. All right. So if you've been following us from day one and you were able to join us on the fourth session, you should be able to know about pitch. Okay, so welcome back. If you sent a pitch this week, using the packed framework I gave you, drop pitched in the chat. I want to know how many of you took action. Okay. So if you're pitching now, if you started pitching, tonight is about what happens after someone says yes, let's talk. Right? This is where a lot of people, ironically, drop the ball. They put all their energy into trying to land the conversation and then freeze up or underprepared for the actual call. So tonight we're going to fix all of that. Yeah, we're covering the discovery call structure, exactly how to onboard a new client so the relationship starts off professional and organized. And maybe most importantly for your long-term income, how to turn one client into a steady stream of referrals. So getting a client is one win, okay? One win. Keeping them and getting referred by them is what actually turns this into sustainable growing income. So let's get into it. Keep liking the live and sharing, all right? So let's do a quick recap of session 4. I'm not going to do session 1 to 4 because of time. I want us to leave here in the next 10 to 20 minutes. For Section 4 is the pact. I call it the pact pitch framework, the pact pitch framework, which is the P is problem, the A is ability, C is case, and T is the task. And always end your pitch with one clear next step, not a vague, let me know. So, like I said earlier, comment pitched if you sent a pitch this week, and if you already had a reply, comment reply. Okay, I want to celebrate every win because we've been doing so much on this particular training for the past 1 week. Let me know in the chat. Even if you're not here, if you join later, still follow up. Watch the beginning of this live stream and drop the things I asked in the comment. Okay, So let's talk through the structure of a 15 to 20 minutes discovery call, step by step, as I share my screen. Thank you for joining. I hope you can see my screen. Okay, so yeah. So step one is going to be you asking about their business and current pain points. So this is genuinely the most important part of the entire call with a client. And it's the part beginners rush past because they are nervous and want to get to selling themselves. So resist that urge. Okay. Ask open questions like what does a typical week look like for you right now? Or what's the most time consuming part of running your business day to day? Then listen, take notes, let them talk more. Okay, let them talk more than you do. Just listen to them and hear them out. Step two, confirm the specific problem you can solve. I always say this a lot. Once they've shared their pain points, I was speaking to one of my subscribers here on TikTok. I was on TikTok live a while ago, and I told her I was looking for a PA, and she was asking. Surprisingly, she started asking me the things I need her to do for me if she decides to be my PA. What are the things I would like her to do? I've also seen some people who don't ask me what I need them to do for me. They just go ahead and tell me how much they want to charge. Okay, so you have to confirm the specific problem you can solve. And that's where picking a niche comes in. Picking a service, this is where it comes in. Once they've shared their pain points, reflect it back to them clearly. It sounds like the biggest drain on your time right now is a specific thing they mentioned. Is that right? Then you say, this shows you were genuinely listening, not just waiting for your turn to talk. And it makes sure you're both on the same page before you move forward, right? Step three will be briefly explain how you'd approach it. I hope you can still see my slide. Keep this short, a sentence or two, you know, outlining your general approach, not a full project plan. Going back to what the lady told me, I told her my calendar is all over the place because I'm not following strict schedule now. And she's like, I'm going to make you follow them if I start working with you. Your eating time, your content shooting time, your editing time, your post time, I'm going to make it work. So this particular one, you explain to them how you'd approach it. Keep it short, a sentence or two outlining your general approach, not a full project plan. And then you're demonstrating confidence, competence, not overwhelming them with detail at this stage. All right, that's what you're doing when you keep it short. Step four, share your rate or package. You see, we've gone from step one to four. It's on step four that you will share your rate, not from step one. You don't know what I need you for. You don't know the help I need. You don't know if I need a social media manager or a calendar manager or an inbox manager. You don't know what I need your help for. You're already telling me your rate. Your rate should come at step four, where this is where you share your rate or package, and you're going to state it clearly and directly using the confidence script from session two. If you were here from session two, you use that confidence script, okay? Then it's gonna look like my starting rate for this X, that particular service you want to render. Make sure you don't apologize for your rate, okay? And don't rush past this part. A brief pause after stating your rate is completely normal and doesn't need to be filled with nervous over explaining. You don't owe anybody any explanation as long as you're sure you do this job. You do not owe anybody an explanation. Step 5 is to confirm next steps and timeline. Right, you're going to be ending the call with clarity. When will they decide? When would work start? And what happens next? Never end the call vaguely, right? Always know and state what happens after you hang up. So here's a practical tip I'll give you. Bring 2 to 3 questions written down before the call so you don't freeze up in the moment. Yeah, always write your questions down and hold your papers or whatever your tablets. Something as simple as, what does your week currently look like without help, is a great opener that gets them talking immediately. Remember. So I'm gonna give you this prompt. If I even ask you guys to comment, how many people are here? I would have said comment discovery call ready. If you feel more prepared for this conversation now than you did 5 minutes ago, drop discovery call. But I know some of you watch this after. If you watch it after, no problem, still drop discovery call ready in the chat for me, okay? Now we're moving to segment 2, which is the onboarding a new client. Let me see. Onboarding checklist. So now, congratulations. They said yes. Now what? You did that interview step by step as I've shown, and you got the job. Now what? So this is where a lot of beginner VAs lose credibility fast, simply because they don't have a clear onboarding process. And it makes the whole relationship feel disorganized right from the start. So let's fix that with a simple checklist. So number 1 is to send a short welcome message. So this should clearly confirm the scope of work, your agreed rate, and the start date, all in writing. This protects both you and the client, and it prevents the frustrating situation of misremembered agreement a few weeks in. So make sure all these are documented. Get access to needed tools properly. If you need access to their email, calendar, or social media accounts, use a shared password manager like Bitwarden or LastPass. Never send passwords in plain text over WhatsApp or email, because this is a small detail that makes an enormous difference in how professional and trustworthy you appear. Another one is to set a weekly or bi-weekly check-in. Even a quick 10 minute call or a written update keeps communication consistent and prevents small issues from turning into big misunderstandings. You cannot agree with me. And then you're now going to go ahead and confirm how and when you will invoice. Invoice. Will you invoice weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly? What payment method? A lot of you have issues with payment method, especially people in Nigeria. What payment method are they going to pay you from? Get this agreed upon clearly in writing before you start work, not awkwardly after the first month when payment is already overdue. You start running helter-skelter. So I want you guys to comment checklist saved. Have you saved this checklist that I listed now? And I know you ask me, I don't have a job. So make sure to save it for when you land your next client. This is genuinely one of those things that, that's much easier to set up correctly from day one than fix later. And like I said, I'm trying to rush off. Moving on to segment 2, delivering work that gets you referrals. I hope you can still see my slide. Yeah. So let's talk about what actually turns a one-time client into a source of ongoing referrals, because this is where your long term income really comes from, not constantly chasing brand new cold leads forever. No, you're not doing that. Number one is under promise, over deliver on your first few tasks. Yes, this doesn't mean working for free or, overextending yourself. It means being realistic about timelines and then hitting or slightly beating them. First impressions in a working relationship matter enormously. I recently partnered with an AI brand. It's a music maker app. I recently partnered with them, and they gave me 10 days to produce that work, and then they also gave me this. They said if I produce it within 5 days, I will get $5 bonus. So I had the opportunity to let it, run smoothly till the ninth day. But I had to deliver that work within the 2, 3 days of me getting it. And I got that $5 bonus. So that's the type of thing I'm talking about. You over deliver. Okay, you hit the target, you beat them. First impressions in a working relationship matter enormously. So send a short weekly update, even if unprompted. Something as simple as quick update. I organized your inbox this week, flagged 3 items that need your response, and scheduled next week's post. Takes 2 minutes to write and makes an enormous difference in how supported and informed your client feels. Clients love visibility into what they are paying for, right? Especially early in the relationship before deep trust is built. And after that, the next thing is, after a good milestone, ask directly for referrals. After you have built this relationship, you can ask them for referrals. This is the step almost everyone skips, and it's costing VAs income. Yeah. Once you've delivered solid results, they say something like, I'm so glad this is working well for you. If you know anyone else who could use this kind of support, I'd love an introduction. See how you're selling yourself. Most clients are genuinely happy to refer someone who's made their life easier, but they usually won't think to do it unless you ask directly. Comment noted if you're following. Comment noted if you are following. If the referral script is new to you, this one small habit, asking directly after a good milestone, can genuinely double or triple how quickly your client's base grows compared to only relying on cold outreach or getting a new client from Upwork. So we're moving to segment 4, which is handling difficult moments. And we're rounding up the last slide. We are rounding up now. So, not every client relationship runs perfectly smoothly. So, let's prepare you for a few common um, bumps in case it comes up. First one is scope creep. What does that mean? When a client starts asking for more than what you originally agreed to, address it professionally. See how I'm holding my ears? Make sure to address it professionally, not resentfully. I'm happy to take that on. Let's adjust the package to reflect the extra time involved. I remember working for, I don't know how to put it so you understand it. I was working for someone like that. I was working for someone like that when I was into childcare, and when the family, I don't even know how to put this example so it matches what I'm trying to say. So when you're getting extra workload, don't just keep short and be dying in silence and doing the job. You can fall sick, you're underpaid, you can't even get medication because you're not getting the money you need. Speak up professionally. I had to address that my issue professionally, and I said no. considering the stress I'm going to go through doing this extra work without pay, I might fall ill. So I need a raise. And it happened. So you need to speak up when such a thing happens to you. So you can say, I'm happy to take that on. Let's adjust the package to reflect the extra time involved. This keeps the relationship positive while protecting your time and income. So it's better for me, it is better that I'm doing my normal work that I'm being paid for, and still maintain my health and every other thing, than doing extra work, working extra for you without getting paid. Number one, you will no longer be happy doing that job, and then before you know it, everything will spoil. So speak up professionally and address it. Late payment is another one. The best solution here is prevention. Set clear payment terms upfront. For example, due within three business days of invoice. Guys, let's like and share. So if a payment is late, make sure to follow up politely but promptly, rather than letting resentment, build silently. Me, I always message and I'll say, tell out even though I don't need to use those words, but I still say it. I'm humbly reminding you that blah blah blah. You haven't yeah, I'm humbly reminding you, just in case you've forgotten that you haven't done this, and the person will just say, oh, I'm sorry, I know, I'm just a little bit occupied. So don't keep short. Your money is tied to somebody in another part of the world. Another thing is mismatched expectations. If something feels off, address it directly and early, because a quick honest conversation early on almost or early on how do I put it? A quick honest conversation early on almost always resolves the things far more smoothly than letting frustration quietly build on either side for weeks. So when it comes to mismatched expectations, please address it. If not, you start building resentment, you start getting frustrated, and then the person will notice and lay you off. So, since there are no questions, let's recap and go. Let's recap and go tonight. Hey, good evening, Crystal. The Crystal Academy. Thanks for joining. Thanks for joining. We're just rounding off now, so I can go. Remaining one session, and then we are done for this class. So let's recap tonight. Discovery calls. Listen first. Confirm the specific problem. Briefly explain your approach. Then confidently present your rate and next steps. 2. Onboard every new client with a simple checklist. Access, communication, cadence, and invoicing, all agreed upon in writing. Ask for referrals directly after a good milestone. Don't wait for clients to think of it on their own. 4. Handle scope creep. Late payment and mismatched expectations early and directly, not with silent resentment. And session 6 is going to be on Thursday, our final session for this class before we start email and calendar management. That's if I don't know, if the spirit leads me, I'll do that. So our final session is on Thursday this week, which will be scaling up and live Q&A. We will cover exactly when and how to raise your rates, how specializing can significantly increase your income, and we'll be answering your questions live on anything from across the entire series. So if you want to know what we covered for the entire series, feel free to go to the channel and watch from session 1 to session 5. And drop a handshake in the chat if you've got a discovery call coming up this week. I want to be cheering you up on another session. Yeah, I want to celebrate with you guys. If you have followed through from session 1, I believe your eyes should be opened when it comes to VA. VA is not just a word. There are categories of services under VA, which we talked about in session 1. So I'm going now. Thanks so much, everyone, for joining me here. I'll see you guys in the next one. Feel free to check my other videos from session 1 to section 5 so that you follow along. We're coming back here 9 p.m. on Thursday this week. Okay? Share this video to anyone who is interested in starting his or her VA journey. Okay? Before you go and pay a coach to teach you, start from here. This is the foundation. And they'll also teach you this when you go there. Good night. I'll see you guys next time.